Alright, then I believe too. And with that, there's only one thing left to say. Let's rev it up!
Alright guys, welcome back. I'm glad you guys enjoyed the match. That was pretty epic, man. But one thing I want to kind of explain to you guys is because side decking is really important, especially when you go rogue. Like that's pretty much what it is. Like you're not playing the trending deck, you're not playing the top tier deck at that time, so that means you're playing something different. That's not that, so that's considered rogue. Means like you went rogue. Like that's what it means. So pretty much a good side deck helps you against that scenario where your deck can be as good as it can, but certain matchups are just too overwhelming that your main deck can't handle it. And that's what side decks for, and why it's really important. Because if you don't have like a proper side deck, then it's like might as well not have a side deck at all, because it has to function in that exact purpose. It's meant to help you out where your main deck lacks. And sometimes I think some people like miss that a little bit, because it is important. It's like really important. It's part of the deck. It's part of the whole strategy of your deck, because it has to synergize with it as well. And one thing I want to point out, like that's completely missed, I think. Okay, let's say like this. This only works with this deck, because you can. Like the fact that if you go first, if you know you're going first, and you open this, like let's say you open up that, and you open up like the go food play. Okay, let's say you open up this, right? Let's say you open up this, and you know that okay, there's like DD Crow, you would call DD Crow, Ghost, any, I guess, well the relevant trap for now, what Ash, Ghost Ogre, DD Crow, and Maxi. Well, it doesn't work in Maxi because I just chain it. So like you would call the one that you would think is more devastating. Like let's say DD Crows are devastating more than you used to call DD Crow. At least if they Ash, then I guess they stop it. But I guess DD Crow would be more devastating because they could banish it, like just banish it. So that's not good. So you call whatever it is that you don't want to stop, because that's the only thing that's stopping you, hand traps. Otherwise you're just gonna go off. And if let's say you activate it and they have nothing, that means depending on what the matchup is, you're gonna end up drawing into the other two, and you call the key cards for that deck. Like let's say Draco, you call Diagram and like Masterpiece or something, or I don't know, because like you'll have Cipher to protect them, so they can't twist them away. So that's really good. So you'll call one like key cards that they have that they need to function, and that's really good. But yeah, like you wouldn't play this in any other deck, because like you just can't. Like this deck benefits a lot from this, because this is pretty much liberating you to have no hinders, whereas other decks is much more like you're drawn to your like Zoo, for example. Like it wouldn't be worth it playing it in that deck. It just wouldn't be worth it, because you have your traps to slow them down if they stop you, and that's that style. It's much more consistent. It's much more top tier, where it's you always have a play. Like even though it's not like this deck, if you don't have a proper play, then that means you bricked. Whereas Zoo or any other deck, if they don't open up like some sort of sequence, they have the traps they can just set and then just pass, and that's cool and all. Like if you want to take this deck in that direction, you can, but it won't be as explosive. But like I mentioned before, you're gonna fall into the same downfall that Twister's gonna be a big issue. Like once they get rid of your back row, then it becomes oh crap. Now like they're gonna have their back row and they're gonna have their. And I never liked that scenario. Being like ever since I played Glads, I just hated that scenario where they would just get rid of my back row, and then like I wouldn't be able to recover. And that's why I like this so much. It's so versatile that it's so explosive and so overwhelming that if you go first, the board is pretty insane, and a lot of decks struggle. Like a perfect example is game 1 of the match. If you guys haven't seen the game, it's I'll put little cards so you can check out game 1 if you haven't checked it out yet. Like the simple fact that it was an aggressive deck against an aggressive deck, that gave me much better chances of breaking that board, because I knew that I don't have any traps. Everything I have is aggressive, so I can try to have like a lot of versatility is what I mean. I can bait a lot of things out. Whereas like the zoo, they have what? They have Terrata, Barrage, and their normal summon. So that's three. But if you time it properly, you can easily stop that. Whereas this is really versatile. Like you saw, I could have done a lot of things, and I had the options were there, and it just depends on what he assumed I had or what. Because like it's kind of hard to play against, because it's so versatile. You don't know what they have, what they might have. Whereas like top tier decks are much more linear, so you kind of have an idea of what to expect, like what's the follow-up play, like what's the worst case scenario. So it's much easier to play against those decks. But of course, when you're playing like a mirror match with top tier decks, it's much more technical, because like again, it's a linear thing. You both are kind of aware of how you both decks function because you're playing the exact same deck. Whereas this, it's much more like, okay, people can't really read it because it's so versatile. You can do that or do this. If you stop there, then you can do that. You know, it's like, unless you completely break when this is the only option, then that just sucks. But yeah, like that's what I mean. Like this doesn't really benefit any other deck, just because in this deck it really, like, if you just get rid of the hinder, this deck just goes off. And yeah, like, and one example I was using, because my friend Ali was wondering like why he thought that things should not be at 1, things should not be limited or semi-limited. Why is it at 2? Like, I was like, well, it's more of a statistic type of thing, where let's say it's at 1, right? Let's say a card's at 1, it's either gonna be at the bottom or it's either gonna be at the top. So then that's it. And if it's at 2, it's either gonna be at the bottom or it's either gonna be at the top. And like that's like statistically, ideally that's how it's meant to work. But of course, you don't like shuffle like randomly, like as much as a simulator would. So of course you can end up with both at the bottom. But like statistically, if you kind of like divide it, it'll be like, okay, it's meant to be like one like that, and you have better chances. And then when it's at 3, you have even more chances of drawing it. See, you get what I'm trying to say? Like that's why it's at those type of ratios is important, because I know some of you like don't really like buy into that with ratios or not ratios. Like I used to be like that too. I used to not really care about ratios. Like, it doesn't really matter, man. If you draw it, you draw it. But it kind of does. Like if it's at 3, there's more chance of you drawing into it. But yeah. So okay. So one thing I want to clear out is when you go first, you put these in, because you don't want any hand trap stopping you. And I'll show you what to side out in a bit. Okay. And then when you go second, you're going to want to put every board wipe you possibly can, because like that's what the meta is now. That's what decks do now. They just set up boards and just try to disrupt you as much as they can, and then just overwhelm you next turn, and then just pretty much the game's almost over then. But if you just wipe their board and then just slowly but surely gather your pieces and then explode, then that's pretty cool. And pretty much what you take out, it's not what you would expect, but it's what you like. It's just what I felt like it was the most. It worked the best, because I was like, okay, if you can't play anyways, then might as well have like an out to it, right? So you take out all your searchers, like, or you take out everything, all the consistency cards that are meant to help you flow. You take, because like odds are it's a combo deck. Like they're gonna have a setup that it's gonna be hard for you to break. So there's no point in trying to struggle through that and try to make something happen when they're just gonna end up stopping you. So it's like, it's like damn, it's hard to. It's really hard to. So it's better to just nuke their board, destroy whatever it is they accomplish on their turn, and then just slowly get back into the game by poking with kaijus or just wiping their board. And so you take out every single consistency card, because like it's like, put that there. Cool. So you take out these when you go in second. You take out what 3, 6, 9, 10, 11. 3, 6, 9, 10, yeah, 11. So you take out these 11 for those 11, because like odds are you can't play anyways, because it's already tough for you as it is. So it's better to have an out than to have a puzzle piece like a searcher, because like something's preventing. Let's say you have a dark law, then there's no point in having this when you can have this instead, and there's no point in having like. This is the way I saw it. I was like, yeah, better than not struggle. Unless you know that okay, it's not too much of a deal, then you just don't really cite in the kaiju engine and you just cite in like these three. It'll be enough. And believe me, I've been considering putting like naming it, because it's just so good, man. Like this will fix the issue of you being scared of going second, because normally what you would do is you would try to battle out your and breaking their board by going into like this, bouncing one monster and summoning this, popping another card, when you can just wait to do that. Just go Regeki, boom, done. And then you can just and then if you have any more stuff, then you get rid of that stuff. Like that makes much more sense. But it's just that these are not combo cards. Like they'll slow you down. That's why I think of just maining Regeki and Book, because Book is an aggressive. It's an aggressive card, and it's a defensive card as well. So that's why I like Regeki and Book, because like if I have a field and I draw into this, it's like, oh damn, that's just awkward, man. But yeah, that's pretty much all you do. You just cite that, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Like that's all there is to it, because I know some of you have that question of how to side with this deck, and this pretty much covers everything there is going on right now. That's pretty much gonna be it. Yeah, that's pretty much gonna be it. I hope this was helpful. If you have any more questions, just put them in the comments down below, and I'll try to answer you. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully this was helpful. Give a like if it was, and thanks for watching.